In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some clothing and clothing related items that you maybe haven't thought about reselling before.
Hey, I'm Lee Meyer, and I'm the founder of Listing of Freedom and the Empowered Reseller. And I help clothing resellers make more money without hustling harder. Let's get started.
If we have not met yet, my name is Lee Meyer, and I have made over $100,000 selling items like used clothes on sites like eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And I have the wonderful privilege of working with hundreds of resellers over the years to start and grow their reselling side hustles. All right, so I've got a whole lineup of items to show you that are selling that might be a little bit on the unusual side. But first, I want to take a second to invite you to grab my free handbook that covers 7 costly newbie sourcing mistakes that you might be making. In the handbook, I cover 7 of the most common mistakes that I see new resellers make when it comes to sourcing items. And these mistakes could be costing you sales as well as costing you profits. So if you'd like to learn how to source better and quit making these costly mistakes, I have the link to grab that free resource in the description below this video. You'll enter your information and I'll get that to you instantly. All right, so let's head on over to my computer and we'll get started. Okay, so this first one surprised me. I was outsourcing and I came across a pair of LuLaRoe jeans. Now, this is now a brand that should not be on pretty much any brand list. Most resellers know to, maybe neither direction. But this pair of jeans was sitting there. I just kind of like tossed it aside. All the other resellers had looked through this. This was just a bin at the Goodwill outlet that had been sitting there for who knows how long and nobody had touched it. And so then I moved on and then I thought, okay, hey, wait a minute, maybe I should look into this a little bit closer. And so I did look up the jeans, and you can see some of the prices here that jeans are selling for. And so these are some examples here. So this pair sold for $32. There's a pair of jeans here that sold for $35, another one that sold for $38. And I went ahead and filtered this to show, I believe it was $30 and up for sales. And it kind of gives you an idea of some items that are still selling okay for LuLaRoe. Of course, there's going to be items that are only selling for pennies, so that this does not mean go out and buy anything that's LuLaRoe. There's certain items that are going to be more valuable than others, right? And so jeans are one of those. And then you can look through and see some of the dresses. So these are 2 Winnie the Pooh dresses. Those both sold for $33, free shipping. And then there's a Randy tee. I'm not exactly sure why this one sold for this amount. It is a 2X, and so that size, the bigger sizes, do help. That one sold for $30. And then there's a cardigan, this one, or a blazer, I should say. This is probably a little bit more unusual style that you might not come across very often. I'm not sure what that sold for since a best offer was accepted. You can look that up if you would like. I do have a video on that I'll leave the link for up here. And then there's some other dresses here that I wanted to point out that sold for $35 free shipping. These are both, again, they're 2XL is part of the reason why they're selling for that price range. So that just be aware of this, that there are still some good LuLaRoe things to be sourcing. You just have to be very, very careful. All right, so the next thing I want to show you are damaged bras. So I went ahead and looked up just the keyword, the term damaged bras, and there's huge lots of these selling for, quite a bit of money. And so let's take a look at some of these. So this one, it says lot of 40, that one sold for $80. So you're looking at like $2 a bra. These might be in a condition that you're not going to be able to, sell them for obviously more than that. But if they're damaged, if there's any sort of flaw in any way, I did look through some of these listings and it says like, they might have an open seam, they might have heavy pilling, they might have a broken underwire, that sort of thing. But they are selling surprisingly in damaged condition. Some of them may be selling for parts. So you'll see here for repair, for parts. And this just gives you some of the idea of, even items that are damaged, what you could possibly get for these if you're able to pick them up cheap, if they're going to be like basically thrown away otherwise, that this could be a good solution. Quick intermission break. If you are a new reseller, I'd like to invite you to check out my Ultimate Reseller Starter Kit. The starter kit is jam-packed with everything you need to launch your reselling business quickly and start bringing in those first sales. You'll find the link to get the kit in the description below this video, and I even have a special 25% off thank you code for being here. Just enter UYT25 at checkout to get the discount. All right, back to the content. This is another bra that I wanted to mention while we're on the topic, and this is a Victoria's Secret. Now, Victoria's Secret is another one of those brands that you want to be really careful with. So just like LuLaRoe, there are certain items that are going to be worth more money than others. This particular style is called the bombshell. So it's very sexy. Bombshell is what it is. If you were to look at the tag, it says it right on the tag. The other way that you can recognize these items is the padding inside is like about 2 inches thick. It's super thick. So you can spot them like from a mile away pretty much. And these are some of the prices they're selling for. And again, different styles, different sizes are going to sell for different amounts. So like this one, because it has the lace, it has this interesting back. That one sold for $65. But you can look through and see some of the prices in here. Here's one that sold for 40. Here's 25. There should be some more higher priced ones I thought I saw in here. Here's one that went on auction for 20, but then you can see, okay, here's a couple others also went on auction, one for $18.50, one for $50. So it's going to be, it's going to vary if you're willing to take that risk. This might be a good item to auction. This was a 36 double D. This was a 38 triple D, which is probably part of the reason why this one got bid up a little bit more. All right, next up are damaged cashmere sweaters. Now, I specifically looked up cashmere sweaters, but this will also work for other premium fabrics, such as other types of wool. And so you can look through and see, like, this is a lot of 6 cashmere sweaters that sold for $38 plus shipping. Here's a lot of 7 that sold for $48. And I did peek through these, and they do have holes, they have runs, they have, where moths have chewed. So they are definitely in damaged condition. They're not in wearable condition. And so you can see that some of the keywords that are being used are craft, DIY, upcycle, because they may be getting used for other purposes. So they may be getting completely cut apart and those holes don't matter. So if you do come across cashmere, 100% cashmere, this may be a good option if you're able to get the items really cheap. This next one is empty shoe boxes. Now there are all kinds of different empty shoe boxes that are selling. So here is a UGG shoe box. So that's just kind of like your basic, run of the mill. There's nothing really special about that box. There are some boxes that are a little bit more, special. There's this vintage Adidas that sold for 35. There's this, here's another one, Air Jordan retro looking box that sold for $50, and that sold for that price because of that design. Here's another vintage box. This is empty. This is not with the shoes. This had 2 bids and it sold for $43. But I wanted to point out this one down here. So this is a lot of 90 Nike orange shoe boxes. These are like, the basic everyday boxes that Nike shoes come in if you go and buy them from, someplace like Kohl's. This should look like pretty familiar if you've been out shoe shopping recently. And a best offer was accepted, so it was listed for $629 free shipping. I'm not sure how they plan on shipping 90 boxes if they're going to be, flattened. I'm assuming that's pretty much the only way to ship them. And so I went ahead and did look this up because I was interested to see, did it sell for 600? Did it sell for 200? Like, you don't know when a best offer is accepted. So I went ahead and looked this one up for you. And this one did sell for $560. So it was listed again for $620 or $630. And then it sold for $560. So it was pretty close to what they were asking. This is another one that you might not think about that's kind of related to the boxes, and these are the dust bags. So I do come across these pretty often where they've just been basically tossed aside, Most people wouldn't think that they're worth anything, that they're worth keeping. Now, certain brands with these are, a luxury brand is going to be worth more. This one sold for $20. Um, let's see, there's a Chanel, a Coach. I mean, they're not like huge amounts of money. Here's a Cole Haan lot of 8. So I guess for 4 pair that sold for almost $30. But you can see that this is another item that might be a little bit on the surprising side of like, oh, people are buying these. All right, so the next one is swimwear. Maybe you have thought about this one before, maybe you haven't. Maybe you're kind of on the fence of like, okay, I wouldn't buy use swimwear myself. Like people actually do this, and or maybe you're okay with it then, whatever, that's cool. But just to realize that, hey, people do buy used swimwear. They'll buy, the shorts like this. There's, women's bikini bottoms selling, men's swim trunks selling. So some people just don't care, and you can kind of see the prices of some of these items that are selling. I do have this filtered down to, I believe, about 30, but it goes to show like you can sell these items. You cannot sell used underwear, at least not on eBay. But this, to me, in my mind, is pretty similar to underwear. So I'm not exactly sure, like, you can't sell that, but you can sell this. But you can see the prices that these are. Miracle Suit, that's probably one of my favorite swimsuit brands to sell just because I come across them pretty often, and they do sell for around this $40 mark. Okay, next up are these granny squares. So I just typed in granny square, and every type of item that's related or that has the keyword granny square came up. So there's blankets, there's bags. If we scroll down a little ways, there's a sweater there. That one sold for $106. This one does not appear to be any sort of brand. It looks homemade to me. Here's another sweater. This one is a brand, so ignore that one. But these are just like, for the most part, these are handmade. This is a blanket Afghan. That one sold for 40. Here's another one that sold for almost $70. Another one that sold for $77. So these are things that you're probably going, oh, this looks like from my grandma's house. And you're absolutely right. These are selling for, quite a bit of money. It doesn't mean that every single one is going to sell for this much money. There's going to be some that sell for less. Here's another like vest. It looks like a sweater vest. That one sold for 40. And here's another dress. No, that's a blanket. Blanket on a hanger. Blanket on a hanger. And then this is a hoodie that sold for $75 with that granny square pattern. I did pull up a couple of these just to see how much they actually sold for on a best offer. So there was a sweater back here. This one that says debut granny square. It was listed at 42 and it sold, it looks like, for $30 plus $15 of shipping, which is too high. They could have charged less for that and maybe put more money in their pocket. All right, and then the other one that I saw that I wanted to look up was, I believe it was this granny square one here that was listed for $95. This looks like a really unusual pattern because there's flowers that are crocheted into that pattern. And I believe that it's this one here. So that one sold for 85. So they had it listed for 95, took an offer of 85. All right, so this is another item that you may have not thought about selling before, and these are the Walmart vests that employees wear, and there's all sorts of different styles of these wearing, so don't feel like you need to necessarily find the ones that are currently being worn. So I think this is the current style as of this recording, but it's like everything, it's constantly changing. But there are, older styles that, how may I help you? Vest. This one sold for $36. There's some other ones here that I'm not sure if they look to me like an older style. Here's a reflective one that I'm assuming is worn by, people working in the parking lots. That one sold a lot of 2, it looks like, for $30. Here's some other, this is another current style. This one sold for $30. This is a 3XL. So again, the size on these will matter. Here's another one that sold for 35. Another of the how can I help you that sold for 40, another one for 40. So if you do come across these are a really good thing to go ahead and pick up. And at the very minimum, you're probably going to get at least, $20 for them. Here's another one that sold for $25. So I hope this has opened up your mind to the possibilities of the things that you can sell and what you can make money with. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out my BOLO playlist where I go over more brands, more items to be looking for when you're outsourcing. See you there.